To access the scoring system setup area, mouse over Commish Tools and click the League Settings link. From here, select the Set Your Scoring System option located on the left-hand side of the page. First, we will discuss the two different scoring system types offered, head-to-head and ranked. In head-to-head, matchups between two teams will take place each week, with the winner being awarded a win in the standings, and the loser being awarded a loss. In ranked, points-based, the standings will be determined by the total amount of points each team has scored throughout the entire season. If you participate in a ranked league, you will have the option to have the live scoring page display standings either by period points or by year-to-date points. The by period points option will display the current scoring period's point totals on your live scoring page. The by year-to-date points option will display the points scored by each team for the entire year. If you are using the head-to-head scoring type, you must choose a tiebreaker setting. You can either leave the matchup as ties, have the home team win, have the team with the better reserves win, or you can choose a specific category such as total yards to break the tie. Next, you will choose the standings determination. We suggest leaving the determination at winning percentage so that teams will always be ranked based on their win-loss record. After the determination, you can set your standings tiebreakers. Among the tiebreaker options are total points scored, division record, points against, and head-to-head. Now, let's discuss the scoring system. The scoring system is broken down into two categories, offensive and defensive. Let's start with the offensive categories. Here, there are sections for passing, rushing, receiving, miscellaneous offense, and place kicking. To add a scoring category to your league, simply place a check mark next to the category you would like to add. To remove a category, uncheck the box. It is important to make sure that you do not have two or more similar categories checked off. Otherwise, this will cause certain categories to be double scored. For example, if you have the rushing yards, receiving yards, and the combined rushing and receiving yards category for miscellaneous offense selected, any rushing and receiving yard stats accumulated by a team may be scored twice when you only intended them to be scored once. This can also happen in defense categories. For example, if you have interception TD selected and also defensive TD selected, any interception returned for a touchdown will be scored twice. Once you have selected the categories you would like to use, you can now assign point values for these categories. There are several ways to score a category. The points value field allows you to assign a point value that is awarded each time a player accumulates that stat. For example, placing a 6 in the passing touchdown category will award 6 points each time a player throws a touchdown pass. This method is mostly used in turnover categories and point scoring categories such as touchdowns and field goals. The points value field should also be used to configure decimal scoring. If you enter a value of 0.1 into the rushing yards category, a running back will receive 0.1 points for each rushing yard they accumulate. For example, a running back that rushes for 87 yards will gain 8.7 fantasy points. Please keep in mind that the points field will not appear if the ranges box is checked. Range scoring is another popular way to score a category. To enable range scoring for a category, check off the Use Scoring Ranges box. The default range for rushing yards reads, from 0 to plus rushing yards, award 1 point for every 10 rushing yards. The plus sign represents infinity. We suggest ending all of your ranges with a plus sign to ensure your scoring range covers all numbers. This range will award 1 point for every 10 rushing yards a player gains. You can set up a range to be as simple or as complex as you'd like. For the following example, we will award 1 point for every 10 rushing yards, but then 2 points for every 10 rushing yards after 100 yards. To add a range, click the Add Additional Range link. Adjust the first range so that it reads, from 0 to 100 yards, award 1 point for every 10 rushing yards. For the second range, adjust it so that it reads, from 101 yards to plus, award 2 points for every 10 rushing yards. We recommend using range scoring for defensive points against categories as well. Let's take a look at one such setup. To find the defensive points against category, click the Defensive tab. Here you will see the points against, total points scored category. By default, you will see the first range reads, from 0 to 6 points against, award 8 points for every blank points against. By leaving the For Every box blank, the system will award a defense 8 fantasy points if they give up anywhere between 0 and 6 points. If the for every column had a value of 1, the defense would then be awarded 8 fantasy points for each point they gave up. For example, if the defense gave up 3 points, they would receive 24 fantasy points. Generally, you will want to leave the for every column empty when scoring defenses, as you do not want to reward a defense for giving up points. Some leagues may want to reward a defense for shutting the opponent out. In this example, we will give the defense 10 points for a shutout. To accomplish this, have your first range read, from 0 to 0 points against, award 10 points for every blank points against. When making adjustments to our default ranges, please make sure you do not leave gaps. The next range should begin where the last range ended. Also, please keep in mind that 2 separate ranges cannot overlap. If one range ends at 14, the next range cannot begin at 14. The final way to score a category is through bonus points. To enable bonus points for a category, check the Use Scoring Bonuses box. Bonuses will grant additional points to a player once they reach the criteria that you set. Let's head back to the Offensive tab and award a 3-point bonus for reaching 100 receiving yards. To do this, check off the Use Scoring Bonuses box. Have the bonus read, award a bonus of 3 points at 100 receiving yards. Please keep in mind that bonuses will only be awarded once. If this same player reaches 200 receiving yards, they will not be awarded another bonus unless you have specifically set up a second bonus that awards additional points. Click the Add Additional Bonus link to create more bonuses. You may also award bonuses for touchdowns that were scored from certain distances. For example, if you check the bonus box for passing touchdowns, you can set up a bonus of 5 points for a passing touchdown above 40 yards. Finally, you can score categories differently by position. For example, you may want to award a running back more points than a quarterback for throwing a touchdown pass. To do this, check the Score Categories Different by Position option at the top of the Scoring System section. You will see a new Score Different by Position column appear. Once you select a category to be scored differently by position, an Add Additional Position link will appear. Clicking this link will add a drop-down box that will allow you to choose which position should be scored differently. For our example involving a running back throwing a touchdown, we can select RB from the drop-down and assign a point value of 10. The default value will cause all other positions to receive 6 points for throwing a touchdown, while the positional scoring we have just set up will award 10 points for running backs only. Once you have entered in all of your scoring system settings, click Save Changes at the bottom of the page to secure your settings. To ensure that your scoring is set up to your liking, we suggest using the Test Your Scoring System link before the season begins. Using this tool, you can enter in hypothetical stats and view how they will be scored.